Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wild. Today we are talking about I've been DoorDashing for 4 years and that has never happened. UberEats driver tells corporate that she should be compensated for getting tip baited. So this UberEats driver apparently got tip baited, and yes, you could say it doesn't happen on DoorDash, doesn't happen on Grubhub, but it does happen on UberEats, it happens on Spark, it happens on Instacart, and when it does happen, it's frustrating. Let's just be real. That being said, she's not wrong, and I will tell you a secret about UberEats. But with that said, I want to go over everything that this article is saying about this subject, how it actually is for customers, the platform, gig workers, and everything in between. So with that said, let's get started. A number of food delivery drivers have expressed their anger over tip baiters, i.e. folks who dangle the promise of a high tip to ensure that their orders are delivered in a timely fashion, only to snatch it away upon receiving their items after the fact. Here's the truth about those people. They suck! You want to get yourself a terrible reputation among delivery drivers? Try tip baiting. I'm not even kidding. The first time it happens, it ends up on my no-go list, and it ends up among the community. You think that we don't talk about this stuff? Not to mention with tools like Para coming out, and while some people know that it's against terms of service, some people still use it anyway, so they will flag you and your account. One UberEats driver, Brandyy at Brandyy.rose, decided that simply making an angry post about it and uploading it to the internet wasn't enough. She contacted Uber and threatened to make deliveries for a rival application, Doordash, instead, in a bid to get the money that she was initially promised for an order. I'm gonna leave her TikTok as well as her profile in the description so you can develop your own opinions on the subject. First and foremost on the subject, she should have been on DoorDash anyway. Like, she should have access to every single platform, and the fact that she doesn't means she's not truly capitalizing the value of being an independent contractor itself. But that is also not the way to go about it. UberEats is fully aware that we end up using multiple apps. In fact, they kind of change how you receive orders because of it. Brandy says in the video, remember the other day when I got tip baited on UberEats, so I was supposed to get $16 and I only ended up getting $3 from Uber because that person went and changed their tip. So I'm mad about it, and my level of penny is just underneath going back to their house and knocking on their door and be like, why did you F with me? Now, I see this whole scenario is already odd to me as a independent contractor for UberEats right off the bat because you only got $3, right? But it showed you 16. The hidden tip system actually prevents you from seeing that, so how do you know it's $16? I have a sneaking suspicion she's not as honest as she's letting on because of the way the hidden tip system works on UberEats. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I made a video on the subject. I will leave it in the description. Feel free to check it out. But the point is, if this was actually the case, it would literally only show her $11, not 16. I don't know how it could have been seen as 16, but that's what I would see here. She goes on to say that she decided to take the matter up with corporate. So I called Uber and I told them, hey, I'm coming from DoorDash and I've been DoorDashing for 4 years and that has never happened to me. I tried UberEats. Within the first week, I got tip baited out of $13. I was like, why do you guys allow people to do that to your customer or to your drivers? Frankly, she was already a DoorDash driver. Not that she was threatening to go to your competitor, but that she was already a DoorDash driver and now she's diversifying into UberEats. But yeah, that's gotta be one of the most frustrating things is you just hop onto the platform and they immediately tip bait you. That's frustrating. And as for why they allow it, good question from all of us. Brandy then said she told her Uber representative that she was no longer going to deliver for the platform and would be returning to exclusively delivering food for DoorDash instead. I'm about to take my A right back to DoorDash where that doesn't happen. I was like, if a customer does that, you guys should be compensating the drivers because the business is nothing without the drivers. And for every driver that's complaining about the situation, there are 5 more that are willing to do the work anyway. That's why they don't care. And you know what? You're not wrong. This shouldn't be allowed. I think everybody and their mother will tell you that it shouldn't be allowed. But the fact of the matter is that it is allowed. So there's going to be dirty customers. The best thing you can do is put it on your no-go list and diversify your income so that way you're not dependent on any one app. Heck, if you're on Doordash already and you're on Uber Eats, hop on Grubhub too. Hop on Instacart. Hop on other apps. According to the TikToker's video, it doesn't appear like Uber Eats addressed the issue on the same phone call, but rather that they would follow up with her at a later time. So they're looking into it, and I'm hoping that they're going to compensate me, because I'll go right on to the Doordash. She accentuates her statement with a swift bite of what appears to be a hot Cheeto. That's really not how Uber Eats operates at all. Something smells funny with this one. Usually everything is addressed on the same phone call. They don't usually do that "we sent it to our escalation team" nonsense. It's usually we're doing it or we're not. Or they're sending you through transfer cycles, or you have to ask for a supervisor to get something done. It's never like, oh, we'll send it to our escalation team, we'll get back to you in 48 hours. That's more of a Doordash thing. The only thing that's better about Uber Eats than Doordash in the first place is that with Uber Eats, you can log in whenever you like and you don't have to schedule time. With Doordash, sometimes it's hard to get in because you have to schedule something. So that's the only difference. I think you make more money on Doordash anyway. So we'll see, she added. Yes, the scheduling system on Doordash is a pain in the butt to a lot of people. There is a lot more differences. Their hidden tip system is a lot more constricting. And the reason why most people make more money on Doordash is because the order volume is really just that much higher than everyone else. In a follow-up video, Brandyy revealed that Uber did indeed get back in touch with her. The TikToker says that the application told her that there was essentially nothing they could do, and drivers ultimately take orders at their own risk when it comes to gratuities. And if you knew how to do it right, you could have asked for the gratuity itself without having to actually deal with stuff like that and manipulating Uber support like that, because quite honestly, that's frustrating for everybody. There is a way you can actually ask Uber support for the proper gratuity that was promised to you, but you have to know how to talk to them. You have to know the proper sequence of events. And if you don't know what that is, I made a video talking about that as well. I will leave that video in the description. Feel free to check it out. Quick note before I move on from that. That tip was actually something I took from Zach Drives Fast. Thank you, Zach Drives Fast, for actually helping the entire gig community on that subject and making that video possible. However, that answer didn't sit right with the TikToker, and she repeated that she will no longer be working for Uber Eats if they maintain this stance, stating that she would rather spend her time doing deliveries for Doordash instead. You see, that's another point. Let's say the drivers that are actually on Doordash, or those who are not a part of Doordash and are a part of Uber Eats, and they're looking to leave Uber Eats for Doordash and not go back to Uber Eats at all, not taking that multi-apping system because they don't know how to fight. Because this is a bad call on the driver here, but she doesn't know the difference. Like, this isn't something we talk about a lot as a community. And not to mention, if you do talk about it, it only grows the issue because customers like that shouldn't exist on the platform in the first place. That seemed to have changed the Uber support rep's mind. As a result, Brandyy said that the application awarded her $25 in credits for the inconvenience of dealing with the customer, but she suggested to them that they implemented a risk warning associated with the patrons who have changed tip amounts on orders to leave the decision up to the driver as to whether or not they want to make a delivery for potential tip baiters. This doesn't seem right. I know that Uber has been fighting customers that play games with other people's money, including theirs, but $25 in credits? I have never once heard of that. I mean, if it did happen, great. Either way, I hope that's $25, period, not in credits. credits. I've never heard of that once. She added that she was proud that she stuck up for herself, which is a trait she learned from her mother. And you know what? I think that's a trait that every driver should have, is not one, proper boundaries, and two, knowing that it's okay to stand up for yourself. I feel like a lot of us came from W-2 jobs and normal grind jobs, and with those jobs came bosses that were abusive and didn't really care about you, so they basically gaslit you into believing that you're the problem, or you're fighting for a promotion you're just not getting, and they're almost dangling it in front of you. That's something that you need to learn as an independent contractor, or really just in business for yourself, period. The ability to set proper boundaries and to stand up for yourself when somebody crosses those boundaries. One TikToker agreed with Brandy and also thought that UberEats should flag customers who've changed their tip amounts after the fact. They should flag customers' accounts that do that. I agree that UberEats should do that and they should just knock them off the platform, but one thing I will say, I don't use Para, but I know Para does this. They give you the ability to flag certain customers. It's for various different reasons too, whether it's the customer themselves, the bad ratings, account violations, food theft, and the companies just aren't doing anything about it. I think that is a good thing to have, but more importantly than that, right? There should also be a tool for all drivers that isn't against TOS that should allow you to do that anyway, because quite honestly, why not? Like, why shouldn't we be able to protect ourselves from bad people? However, another said that they've adjusted gratuities in the past whenever drivers don't follow delivery instructions. They append towards their orders. I only do it if drivers don't follow delivery instructions. Yeah, but here's the reality. If you tip bait at all, I'm done with you. Like, I don't play that game. I would rather have the financial stability of receiving the tip regardless and working with good customers that allow for that than you actually pulling that crap, because that's not okay. Another TikTok user shared that they've been on the receiving end of a tip bait in the past and that it was frustrating. They wanted to verbally chew out the patron over the phone. I got tip baited for the first time this week, and I was so close to calling her job and screaming through the phone, but I stopped myself. LOL. Yeah, but here's the thing. Now you have the opportunity to mark down that customer and never work with them again. That's called a no-go list. You need to start building up a no-go list or use Para. I'm not a fan of you saying use Para because, again, that goes against TOS, but it's an option. Put it that way. The option is available out there. One commenter said that tip baiting isn't an issue on Grubhub as customers aren't allowed to change their gratuity amounts after the fact. Deliver for Grubhub. As a Grubhub user, you can't change your tips. As a Grubhub driver, there's the best tip/pay. I respectfully disagree with this point on two fronts. Number one, yes, they can change their tip. They can only increase it, not have it drop. And same goes for Doordash as well. Second, the tips are good for smaller orders, but the best possible pay as far as the Grubhub platform, I think they're up there. I just don't think they're phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? I would still say sign up though. They also don't have a hidden tip system, and that's very important. This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. Don't need to pay me. There you go. Here's the reality. She should be on Doordash and UberEats and Grubhub and be multi-apping while having all of those platforms available to her. She should also be following gig tubers, and I'm not even just saying that for me, by the way. Like, Zach Drives Fast, Pedro Doordash Santiago, Nugs, Sid City Deliveries, he's one of them, the rideshare guy. I could go on for days with other gig tubers. In fact, there is GigTube himself if you want. He actually has a list of all the gig tubers in 2023, and he makes a lot of videos talking about all of the gig tubers out there. Find one that you like, that knows a lot about the platform, and follow them, because you don't know what little secrets you can figure out if you are. If I wasn't following Zach Drives Fast, you know what would have happened? I wouldn't have known about how you can combat tip baiting on Uber Eats by contacting support. Again, that video's in the description. Some people don't even realize that Uber Eats has a hidden tip system. You never really know with these platforms, and the best place to learn is not from the platforms itself, because the companies are going to tell you what they want based on their self-interest. Gig workers are going to tell you what you want as an independent contractor. The best thing you could do is stay connected and build that community, or be a part of that community for yourself, because you never know how much value you can get from those people. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.